Exhale, folding forwards. Inhale, rising, working up through your hands, stepping to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forwards. Hi, hello, good morning. It's quite dark. I'm also being quite quiet because it's very, very early. I woke up at like 5:30 this morning, not intentionally. I was gonna try and get up earlier, but 5:30 was not what I was aiming for. But I just did a bit of yoga and then I'm planning on going to another run with my friend this morning. I think I also kind of just woke up early because I was like anxious about not waking up in time and then missing that run. So we're definitely awake now. But after that, I'm going to go to a friend's house and have like a work day. So I'm going to work on work stuff, like day job stuff. And then I am also going to work on Between the Waves. I'm getting through the feedback. I've already started to go through quite a bit of it. And I think in the last update, in the last vlog, I got to like chapter 10 or something. I've gotten a few more chapters done. I'm hoping to get a big chunk done. I've also started to do this thing where I think because there are so many comments, like I mentioned, I think there was 1,790 comments total. I am starting to do this thing where I'm definitely glazing over a lot of the comments. This next draft is definitely going to be focused a lot more on structure and characters and just like overarching arcs and background stories and stuff that are missing, and just like world building, character, and plot overall stuff basically. So I've definitely started to get a bit pickier with which comments I'm reading and trying to make sure that the ones that I'm actually like taking in and writing down are ones that are focused on the more like overarching issues that need to be fixed first. And then in a later draft, I'll probably come back to these feedback notes again and like review all of the kind of like bad habits that I have as a writer and line level feedback that I know that I'm going to need to work on. I'm hoping that by the end of this vlog, we finish going through all of the in manuscript feedback, and ideally by the end of this vlog, I have put together some sort of plan or focus or intention to start on with the next draft. So that's the goal. I need to go run now.
That's okay.
I really hope the sound of my computer fan isn't overly distracting. It's getting worse, which is not great. This computer is over 4 years old now, but I really wanted to make it last as long as possible. Because I think it's kind of ridiculous to like get a new laptop every 2 years or so. Just like I think it's silly to get a new phone every 2 years. So I'm trying to make it last, but I do think it needs a bit of a cleanup because it's making more noises than usual. As you saw from the clip yesterday, I ended up finishing reading through all of the comments yesterday, which was great. I also saw a comment on one of my videos from 76 Kilos of Shade that I thought I would just share with you because it can potentially be helpful, especially if you're watching these vlogs as you yourself are going through feedback and revisions. And they mentioned that another YouTuber that they watch basically had the idea to triage the comments that they've received. So they sort it based on good stuff, in which case there's no fix to be done, quick stuff, so there is stuff that you can like very quickly fix, and then complex stuff, so like a big fix that's needed. And then I guess the idea is to make another document and basically get rid of all the good stuff. Obviously at this point I have finished going through the comments, so I'm not gonna try that strategy this time, but I thought I would share it because I've gotten a couple YouTube comments regarding trying not to focus on all of the feedback that I have received all at once, which is very fair. I've never organized my beta reader feedback like this before, so I think I was underestimating how many comments would be in one document. But I'll be totally honest, like in order to get through the rest of it yesterday, I was basically skipping all of the good ones. I feel like I can save the good ones for a rainy day when I'm feeling down about the story, and then I can just like pull them out again and be like, oh yeah, I remember all these comments about people who really enjoyed the story. I still saw a lot of them, and I did read a lot of the ones that were like fangirling kind of by the end of the story, just because that like motivated me. But yeah, I did end up going through the rest of the comments yesterday, so I have officially sorted through all of the comments. I also finished adding all of them to my Between the Waves notebook. So basically, as I was reading through comments, if anything that was like a big fix that needed to be fixed came up, I would write a note about it in my notebook. And I mentioned it in a previous video, but my next step for this is going to be to go through all of these notes and kind of like combine them and organize them into major overarching fixes that need to happen. And then from those, I want to get the list down to like 3 major things that I can work on for this next draft. At this point, I already have a very good idea of what those are going to be. I know they're going to be related to the characters because that still needs help. I know that one of those points is going to have to do with the beginning of the story, where the story starts, and kind of like some clarity around the backstory, because that is something that has changed in nearly every draft, and it shows. I have gotten comments on it that are like, wait, is this what this seems like it's from a different draft? Why did this get dropped off? And it's because the beginning and the backstory shifted multiple times, which is not good. Because I feel like if the backstory and the status quo and the place that your characters and your story is starting is shifting and not solidified, then you don't really have a very strong foundation to build off of for the rest of the story. And I think that at this point in the process, I really need that strong foundation in order to tie things into the story properly, in order to foreshadow things that should be happening, in order to show proper arcs. I need to know with confidence and clarity how everything started and where it all came from. So I know that's going to be a major point. What was the other thing? I forget. There was a third major fix that I thought I had, but I'll probably just get back to you after I've actually gone through these notes today and made an actual plan for the new draft, because then I'll know exactly what the fixes are. Maybe it'll just be those 2 things though. That would be nice, because I don't particularly want to be working on 3 major fixes for one single draft. I think that should be split a bit more. I also want to mention that a lot of these next vlogs are probably going to be me grappling with past habits and navigating a slower pace when it comes to working on this project, because as you all know, I have a habit of going through cycles of burnout when it comes to my writing, where I'll dive in too deep, and I will spend like hours a day and so much time and write tens of thousands of words, but then I'm burnt out after. Or I'll do a writing challenge, for example, and because I'm so caught up in the numbers and making sure that I'm hitting the goals for the writing challenge, now I've kind of written a bunch of words that were less intentional and less aligned just for the sake of getting words. So I do think a big battle right now isn't even all the changes that need to happen for this next draft. It's actually a battle, like an internal battle with my mindset and habits that I have around writing. So all that to say, I think it would be good if I only had 1 or 2 things to work on for the next draft, because I have time, I have energy, and there is going to be time for 5 more drafts if that's what I need. So yeah, let's just get into the day and we'll see where it takes us. We'll see what kind of plan we end up with at the end of the day.
Okay, so I think I have a draft 4 plan. This plan is going to change for sure. Let's call it the draft 4 plan phase 1, because there's just like a bunch of stuff that I need to do to figure out context and backstory and history, and I need to figure out a lot of things before I can even start the rewrite. And I'm also deciding still if I'm going to fully rewrite or if I'm going to try and edit. Obviously it's a lot of work to rewrite every single time, but on the flip side, I think that maybe would help with avoiding having certain sections of the story that seem like they're not as well written as others. So yeah, I still haven't decided if that is something that I'm gonna do, but I'm kind of leaning towards it for most of the book, only because a lot of it I think really could use a rewrite. But anyways, for this plan, I have like 5 tasks that I want to go through for phase 1 of the draft 4 plan, and none of them actually involve rewriting anything. So the first thing that I want to do is solidify Amaya's backstory. Amaya is the main character, and currently her backstory has been all over the place. It has changed quite a bit, and not only does it affect the foundation of the story, like I mentioned earlier, but it also affects who she is as a person, and it makes a lot of her characteristics and actions inconsistent with how she should be, or how I have imagined her but not done a good job of writing her. So I need to solidify her backstory, and obviously from that will come a lot of her personality and character traits. Task 2 is to solidify the context around the Third Realm and Amaya's family and history. The Third Realm is where Amaya is from, and it is like a lot of what's going on in the Third Realm is obviously foundational to the story. And honestly, I have a lot of unknowns around that still, so I really need to get that sorted. And you'll notice that a lot of my tasks are literally just me trying to solidify context and trying to bring clarity around historical events and the state of the main character and like where she grew up, because those things are things that I'm lacking clarity around, and I really need that in order to actually make the rest of the story make sense and to make it strong. I also want to map out the goal for Amaya's arc, or like what I want her arc to look like. I actually have a pretty good idea of that, but I just think that I'm gonna need to add some more details and kind of clean it up and clarify it as I learn more about her backstory and as I do some more work on her as a character and her family and where she comes from. I know that'll affect her arc and how it is presented, and it'll also give me an idea of what really needs to happen in order to force her to change. The fourth thing is that I need clarity around the Guardians. There are these beings called the Guardians, that's all I'm going to mention for now, and I need a lot of clarity around them because they actually play a much bigger role, and the way that I've written this current draft, you'd think that they were just like a one-off mention, like they're not portrayed in the way that they need to be, because they do actually play quite a big role in the story, so I need clarity around them. And then the final step of phase 1 is to create a rewrite plan for the structure of Act 1. A lot needs to change in Act 1 structurally, and I know that, and as I do this character work on Amaya and her family, Act 1 is going to change a lot. So the last phase of the draft 4 plan is to create that rewrite plan and that new structure for Act 1. And once I've done all that, we're gonna revisit this phase 1 of the plan, kind of review where I'm at, and then start with phase 2, which I don't know what it is yet, but it's basically gonna be the plan 2.0 for draft 4. And maybe at that point we'll do some more rewriting, but like as of right now, I just need a lot of clarity and better context around the foundation of my story. So that is the focus for right now. That's it. We're ready to start prepping draft 4. It's a lot, but I'm gonna do my best and just try to do it in little steps. And it's gonna take a long time, but I am willing to take that time to make it the story that I want it to be. So thank you for watching this video. I'm gonna end it here. I feel like this is a good spot, and we're gonna get started on all of this character work and historical backstory work that needs to be done. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.